hebben geen kledingcode afgesproken.
Nee. Ja, ik ook zit in de deur, dus het is echt ja, heel goed.
Heel mooi. Ja.
Ja.
Je bent dit natuurlijk gewend.
Again, a warm welcome to everyone and especially to you, Your Majesty Queen Maxima. We are very glad you came here today at this kick-off for a new Dutch research into the cultural education for children. Today we will join forces and discuss this upcoming research and the research design. But first I want to talk a little bit about the motivation behind this research, because in the Netherlands we experience too often, and it was basically said by you before, that cultural education for children needs to be defended. There needs to be numbers, even though we know why it is so important. Cultural education is not automatically part of a school day, and there's no structural budget. So there's a growing need for proof that arts and culture is essential in the lives of children and young people. Proof that will convince others, and especially those policymakers in Den Haag, that it should be a structural part of their everyday lives. And in her role as honorary chairperson for Meer Muziek in de Klas, Queen Maxima has often spoken about the importance of doing more research. That's why we are very happy to have you here today. With this research project, we want to uncover the practice of cultural education in and around the schools in the Netherlands. And we want to find out what is the effect and the impact of cultural education on the development of children.
Goedemorgen. That is the extent of my Dutch. I hope you will forgive me for speaking in English, and thank you so much for doing this entire presentation for the first beginning anyway in English. I really appreciate your hosting me today. I'm honored to be here at Hogeschool Leiden with so many dedicated educators, cultural leaders and researchers, and of course with Her Majesty, Queen Maxima, whose leadership in championing culture and education is recognized well beyond the Netherlands. Let me begin by saying that gatherings like this are rare. Rare because they bring together those who inform policy, those who research policy, and perhaps most importantly, those who live it in schools. What you are doing here in the Netherlands is important, not just nationally, but it is internationally exemplary. Research is often not designed to bridge policy and practice. Studies produce reports, but they rarely reach teachers and shift what teachers are doing in classrooms. Gap 2 is that evidence is too narrowly defined. Policymakers understandably want numbers and test scores, and numbers matter, but they don't always tell the whole story. What convinces teachers and principals and parents is experience. A school transformed by music. A father seeing his daughter perform on stage for the first time. A generalist teacher finding confidence and joy through a collaboration with an artist. These are powerful forms of evidence too.
Great, welcome to this session. Thank you for waiting a bit for us before starting. As you've seen in the invitation, the purpose of the setting, of this setting in smaller groups is to basically pick your brains, to ask you to think along with us in this, in designing this research and looking at examples that we can follow, looking at perspectives that we have to take into account to warn us for pitfalls that we might come across. And each session has a different perspective. This one is on international research. So what do we know from things that we've read or that we've done or experienced?
Anthony Heiter, de Amsterdamse Hogeschool voor de Kunsten. Thank you so much for your beautiful talk. And yeah, I'm here because we are very much looking forward or looking into what kind of art are we actually talking about in the world, global world, where not only the European art is there, but there are many other art forms. And I'm so curious to hear from you. Did you find in the 55 countries you talked about forms that inspired you that were from the indigenous cultures, for instance, who are much more into working with the earth, working with connecting? So that would be my question.
So until now, I've always worked internationally within Europe and also much wider. My background is as a music teacher. I studied music. I've worked in post-conflict situations and my own background, Northern Irish post-conflict. And I'm not exactly sure. There's a lot of things I want to get out today. I find it a wonderful keynote, so thank you.
And I think that your point of actually what is art and how do we include kids, and in this sense of citizenship is also a very important point. And I hope you have very fruitful discussions and learn from each other. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for being here.